This is my review on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Part 1. The epic Part 2-parter it is. Yes, this film is a delusional piece of shit that thinks it's worthy of a 2-part story. It's not really at all. It's more than predictable, it feels. If you've seen the Mission Impossible movie, it's as loud as and dumb as the past ones. And as predictable and as safe and marketable. But for some reason, this didn't do well compared to the past ones. It actually flopped. Lost more money than what it made. It didn't do that well. So unless I heard that wrong on the YouTube, it's hard to tell. A lot of things for news sometimes you're not sure how something's legit on YouTube, you know? When you hear about something for news like that, so I feel better. So this franchise needs to fucking stop. Please, for the love of God, stop this franchise. Make one more, and then don't make any more, Tom. If you really need to finish this 2-parter to get out of your system, just don't make any more after this, please. God. Make anything other than Mission Impossible. Go back to making a sequel. Go back working with Paramount, ruining the Mummy while you're at it. Now that you ruined Mission Impossible practically, and made it beyond any Michael Bay's imagination compared to his Transformers movies that Michael Bay did. Now that Mission Impossible has become dumber than the Transformers movies and more confusing and more convoluted and more overwhelming and more safe, boring, predictable, blah, 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 everything I hate with movies. The Mission Impossible the entire Mission Impossible franchise, Tom Cruise Mission Impossible, feels like that to me. It feels like the Michael Bay Transformers franchise. All of them. Each installment feels like that. For me. Feels like a fucking letdown. And it's predictable, uninspiring, original crap. Tom Cruise Mission Impossible is for me. Is and has always been predictable of a franchise. So, this is a 5 out of 10 for me. The MacGuffin, the dilemma, is called the Syndicate, whose target is AI that's an evil AI that's targeting people, and someone's working for the Syndicate. This person Ethan's hunting, who knows who Ethan is from his past. That's unexplained. It's going to probably get explained in part 2 if that happens, but who knows. This one didn't do that well compared to the other ones I hear. But hopefully it'll get canceled. And this syndicate, the MacGuffin, I guess, unresolved of how to stop and destroy the syndicate, which is the evil AI that's monitoring everyone, across everyone on around the world, and assassinating them of anyone who stands in its way. So that gets unresolved because it's a two-parter. It makes sense. It's a part one, sort of a two-parter for this movie. And another thing that gets unresolved is who was Ethan Hunt before he joined the Mission Impossible. Mission before you join the team. Of Mission Impossible Elite Force. This thing's called that. Or Mission Impossible 4 something. I can't remember, so so that gets unresolved, and that thing gets unresolved. So who's the villain of the film? Yeah, like we know who he is. We don't know anything personally about this ghost. It's a certain individual, but Ethan knows something about him that other people don't know about him. But he won't tell his team. So that won't get resolved until part 2. So yeah, nothing really gets resolved in this movie. But what does it have? What does every Michael Bay movie have? That's right. Explosions and the extremest of violence. Radicals of violence. Like Tom Cruise jumping off of a bike after riding off a cliff and onto a train. Moving train, moving beyond his, well, what is supposed to go at top speed. Mach speed. A moving train. And parachute onto it while it's moving. Only to only to see actual bridge actually in the story get blown up. And lots of Ethan Hunt running. Running and running. Lots of it running. Night day. And daytime. We haven't seen running daytime since the first Mission Impossible movie when it went wrong in South. You remember how well that played out? As he's trying to save a life of his teammate before she gets murdered. Stupid this film is. And the killer is the AI. Yes, the Syndicate. The Syndicate is behind everything. The Syndicate is the puppet master. Is that killed a teammate of his. The only one scene that gets resolved is in the first 15 minutes of the film, where Ethan Hunt finds out that he's been duped and played for a jumped. Is why he was hired to assassinate his old teammate. Or so then we only to find out that he never actually killed her. And so he never actually took a life of his into life. We find that out. That gets unresolved, and then that's unresolved. And then he finds out that his superiors want the MIF, the superiors, one of the superiors want the Syndicate to control the Syndicate, not to destroy the Syndicate. And tries to convince everyone it's a good thing to control the Syndicate, not to destroy it. But Ethan knows better, and if Ethan feels like he knows better, so he decides to take matters in his own hands and go rogue and to destroy the Syndicate. But it's not even his superior officers are power hungry. A little bit. Sounding. Yeah. And that's all in the first 15 minutes of the film. That's the best story and tight story that you're going to get in the first 15 fucking minutes of the film. Then the actual story happens to the point there is no story, and there's stakes, the tension is built, but there's no story. After the tension is built, has anyone noticed that? I feel like there's really nothing for me to care about, or I mean, I appreciate that this time they try to make Ethan a more relatable character this time, but I think that's kind of the problem. Ethan was never intended to be a relatable protagonist, unlike Jim from the original Mission Impossible show. That's the problem. Because Ethan never worked as when he was relatable. He only worked when he was always doing the extreme stuff with the story. You know, being the crazy person. But now they want him to be the crazy person, but they also want him to be the man, the heart and soul of the film, with flaws. That's not going to fly with me. Okay? That's stupid. Because Ethan Hunt, the character, is so lunatic and unstable of an individual he can come across as. But he's like at this point in the Mission Impossible franchise, kind of, why are you doing this? I feel like stupid. And not the good kind. Fun. That's fun kind. But that's the problem with Ethan Hunt in this movie. Come to think of it, I think this is the worst Mission Impossible movie since the first one. Because, you know, I don't know which is worse. I think, the first one's the worst one, and this is the second worst one. out of the Mission Impossible movies. It's sad that Rogue Nation's the best one. I think it is. I'll talk about that one a different time. So that's my review on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And gets a 5 out of 10. And subscribe to my channel. Please like the video and subscribe. And click the bell after clicking on the subscribe button to get notified for all my videos. Okay. Goodbye.